Hey Fixsters, and welcome to today's session. So I'm very excited. Today we enter chapter 3 of my new Python one-liner book. So I thought there are many people out there in different countries who told me that they cannot afford the book. And so for the book launch, I basically decided to release all the lessons of the book, Python one-liners, for free on video format. So no matter where you watch this, you may watch this on my email list, on my email academy, or on a Python course, or even on YouTube. So I release these videos on different platforms. So to help improve your skill levels, even if you cannot afford to buy the book. So good. And today, chapter 3 of the book is about data science. So I have developed many one-liner approaches to solve mini problems, and basically it's just about playing around with code, playing around with libraries in order to help you get more out of a single line of Python code. Okay, so you can also help. So and then I thought, okay, it would be boring if I just had like 60 one-liners in pure Python. So I wanted to at the same time address different interesting fields in computer science, for example, data science, machine learning, regular expressions, Python basics, and algorithms even. So I have many different fields, and in the next 10 videos in this session, I will address only NumPy related stuff. NumPy is Python's library for numerical computations. So why? You may ask why? Why data science? So the ability to analyze real-world data is one of the most sought-after skills in the 21st century. Period. So with the help of like powerful hardware capabilities that arise quickly nowadays, new algorithms developed by like Google engineers and Facebook engineers. So if you look at the scientific community, a lot of papers these days on NIPS and on really top conferences in the area of data science are released by Google brain research teams and so on. Okay, so the companies are they're pushing these fields forward. They need people. They seek people who are able to bring those skills to the table. Essentially, the biggest companies in the world, Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, they need huge data processing. They are by definition, by themselves, they are huge processing entities, okay? And data is at the heart of their business model. Think Apple Watch and Apple Health data, for example, and think Google text understanding. Think YouTube, image recognition and speech recognition. Think Amazon, article product recommendation engines, and so on. So machine learning data science is really at the heart of these business models, and therefore we will focus on NumPy in this session. And NumPy is like the basic library for machine learning and data science, I would say, in Python. So if you want to do anything machine learning related or data science related, you will touch NumPy for sure. So therefore I decided to really invest 10 one-liners, about 10 one-liners into understanding of the NumPy library. Good, so let's start with some code. Basically, maybe start with with what we want to accomplish first. Good. So our problem is we want to find the maximum after-tax income in a group of people, given their yearly salary and tax rates. Okay. So now this sounds simple, but let's have a look at some practical code. So for example, we have Alice. And Alice earns some money. So say this is a yearly salary in $1,000, and you can think of it like as maybe I give you the legend so that you understand the data. So we have a yearly salary in thousands of dollars, and over 3 years, say 2017, 2018, 2019. So this is the salary data, basic salary data. Then we have salary data of Bob. Say Bob earns a bit more in the first year, a bit more in the second year, and a bit more in the fifth year. But I would not bet on Bob because he is losing earning potential. And then we have Tim. Say Tim earns less than both in all years, and he is also losing over the years. Okay, so we have those three people, and now we basically now we need NumPy. The NumPy library, you can import it simply by typing import NumPy as np. this NP is just a short for NumPy so that we don't have to write NumPy all the time. And now the NumPy library helps us create a multi-dimensional NumPy array, multi-dimensional matrix. And this is like the main motivation of using NumPy in practice, that you can manipulate multi-dimensional data. I have a full NumPy tutorial on Thinkster, also like video tutorials, many lessons on NumPy, and we have even written a NumPy book. It's called Coffee Break NumPy, and it consists of like a lot of introduction, a lot of tricks in NumPy and data science. But now let's like very quickly focus on the array type. Okay, so we print the salaries data so that I can show you how the NumPy array looks like. Now we have filled this with one dimension, so we have a list of lists basically. Yeah, this Alice variable, the Bob variable, and the Tim is a list. So we have a list of lists, but in Python it's like not very convenient to handle the list of lists and even to perform some operations on lists of lists. This is more complicated. So therefore we want to have the NumPy array data structure, and it looks just like a list of lists. The only difference is that there's no comma here. Yeah, so the output looks a bit nicer and prettier, but the main advantage is that you can handle this multidimensional data much better, much more effectively than using pure Python lists of lists, for example. So now we have an array, so like with 3 rows and 3 columns, and as you know it, I mean, like in the first row, the first value is 99, the third value of the third row is 85. Okay, so very simple. These are the 3 salaries. And now we want to determine, as I already said, we want to determine the maximum after-tax income in a group of people given their yearly salary and tax rates. Okay, so we need the tax rates, right? And say we have so now we can remove this. Say we have the taxation matrix. And now for each, let's create a NumPy array out of it right away. And you define NumPy array by like giving the individual values. I'll explain it to you in a moment. Like, so I type in some tax rates. These are the tax rates of the different persons, of the 3 persons we have. And this array, like the shape of this array looks exactly as our salary array. Okay, so for each salary, of course, for each year and each person. So remember, this is the first year, this is the second year, this is the third year of Alice, this is the first year of Bob, second year of Bob, third year of Bob, and so on. Okay, so then for each year and person combination, we have one taxation rate. Yeah, this is the tax rate they paid in this particular year. Okay, so this could be some data, for example, at on the government or so. Yeah, the government who knows the tax rate, the taxation rate of every person, okay, in every year. So now we have this data stored in a matrix, in taxation matrix, and now we want to find the maximum after tax salary. And then, of course, I mean, we can calculate the for loop or nested for loops, go over everything, calculate the maximum as is, but this would take several lines of code. And in this video series, and even in the book Python one-liners and in the video series, we want to focus on very crisp, concise code snippets that solve a problem immediately. And you may argue that it's cheating using libraries, but think again, because Python itself is a library. Okay, so it's what is a library? A library is just a set of functionality which works on top of another library, basically. Yeah, and this is just it's just like you build the libraries up, you stand on the shoulders of giants. For example, the Python library is implemented on top of the Python virtual engine. Python virtual engine is implemented in C++, so with the CPython implementation. C++ is implemented on machine code, and so on. So it always goes up, it goes down. You have high level, low level commands, and Python one-liner, you should use the power of libraries that were already implemented. Okay, so therefore, I don't consider it cheating using libraries in the Python one-liner. Okay, so what's a one-liner? How can we calculate the maximum after-tax rate? So first of all, so I'll develop it with you as I go along. Okay, so first of all, we can calculate the tax paid in dollar as salaries multiplied with taxation. And now you need to know that the multiplication operation on 2 NumPy arrays per default performs element-wise operation, which means that like the first element of the first matrix, this one, is multiplied with the first element of the first row of the first row, first column of the second array taxation, okay, and so on. So we have the second element, which is implemented with this one, which is multiplied with this one. Then we have the third one, which is multiplied with third one. Okay, so we have element-wise multiplication. We don't have like the dot product or any advanced mathematical multiplication operation here. We can use it with NumPy, that's why NumPy is so powerful, but in this case, if we have just a multiplication operator, then it's element-wise multiplication, which means we multiply each element of the first matrix with the respective element at exactly the same position of the second matrix. And therefore, both matrices must have the same rows and columns, at least after when performing this multiplication operation. So there are some tricks called broadcasting, which you will also learn about in this video series, that make it a bit more robust to different inputs, but I will explain those tricks when we arrive there. So for now, just assume that element-wise multiplication requires that both have the same shape. And you see, both matrices have the same shape. They have 3 columns and 3 rows, both. So of course we can perform element-wise multiplication. And what does it mean? Yeah, if you multiply 0.2, which is Alice's 2017 tax rate, with 99, which is her earnings, yeah, 99,000 she earned. Which this means that this is a tax she paid, basically. Okay, so this gives us the information how much tax did Alice pay in the year 2017. And so just for completion, I print the salaries. I print the taxation so that we can see, and then I print the multiplication of both. Okay, let's see what happens. Here you see, this first one is the salary information, which you have already seen. This one is the tax rates of the persons, and this one is the multiplication of both. Okay, so to obtain this value, we simply multiplied 0.2 with 99, which means that she paid like $19,000 in taxes in the first year. In the second year, she paid $25,000 because her tax rate was higher and she also earned a bit more, so she paid more taxes. In the third year she earned more, but the tax rate was smaller, so therefore she paid a bit less tax, only $22,000, and so on. Okay, so now we have the matrix. We have the number of taxes they paid, but we are not interested in the tax amount they paid. We are interested in the amount that's left. Okay, so and what is left? So we have to take the original salaries, and then we deduct the result of our matrix multiplication. Okay, so this is the result of the matrix multiplication, and this is the tax they paid. So this is their earnings, and we calculate their earnings minus the tax they paid. And again, we perform element-wise operations. So the default arithmetic operators like minus, plus, multiplication, and division operator, they are element-wise, which means that each element of the first one is associated with the element of the second one. So let's print this one. I have to make this smaller. Okay, here we have this output, and you see, okay, again, this is the salary they earned, the tax they paid as a percentage, the tax they paid as a dollar amount, and now this one is like the salary they earned minus the tax they paid, which means the net salary, the net income of those people in these different years. Okay, and now we have a bunch of numbers. Like here, Alice earned $79,000 in the first year, and Tim earned like $76,000 in the third year. And now we want to have the maximum net salary. And how can we calculate this? Yeah, we can simply call NP max, and then we put in this whole thing. And also the maximum operation per default just goes over all values in the NumPy array, no matter their dimensions, no matter whether they are in the rows or in the columns. So it just goes over all elements and gets the maximum number and returns it. Okay, and if you print this one, then we get the value 81, which is this value. So Tim, it's basically Tim's earning. Tim has earned only $19,000, but he paid almost no taxes. So therefore, this is the maximum, like $81,000 is the maximum take-home income. And it was close. I mean, here Alice in the third year earned $80,000 salary, but here Tim like paid least amount of taxes, so he earned the most overall. Okay, so this is how you get the maximum net tax income out of like a NumPy area of salary data and taxation data. So it's simple, but I guided you through these different operations because many people don't know this. Many people don't know what happens if you multiply two NumPy arrays, if you calculate the minus or plus operation on NumPy arrays. How does it work? They don't know if you take the maximum of a NumPy array, whether it returns a column with a maximum average column value or so, or a row or so. But per default, it just goes over all values in the array. It just ignores the different dimensions and the axis and so on, and just returns the maximum value. Okay, and this is you need to understand them by heart. So you need to really train them and really understand each and every basic arithmetic operation on NumPy arrays before you can move on to the next level. So because this is like required knowledge. I mean, you cannot become a data science engineer or like a machine learning engineer or so without understanding those basics. Everything builds on these basics. All the operations, all the if you have linear regression in a multidimensional space, you multiply a matrix with some input vector, for example, and then you have some modification vectors or so. And so you need to understand these basic arithmetic commands on NumPy arrays before you can move on to the next level. So therefore I thought, okay, we take some time, we invest the time and really thoroughly understanding those operations. And this is really, it really pays off to take your time and invest time in learning here. Because if you like, how long does it take to learn those skills? Maybe it takes, if you do it effectively, like if you follow, for example, my training plan with the Thinkster Python Freelancer course, you spend a few hours every day and you do it for a few months. Then you start taking on jobs on Upwork or on some other freelancer platforms, and you can quickly earn $30, $40, $50 per hour. You don't need to invest like huge amount of time, maybe 2 years or so. But what are 2 years? I mean, in comparison to your whole career and in relation to the earning potential you really have as a data scientist and a machine learning engineer, because they earn 6-figure incomes, and as a freelancer you can even out earn most employees in this space, because as a freelancer you have more opportunities to sell your skills. So if you are interested in this, then check out my Python Freelancer course, Thinkster Python Freelancer course, and otherwise just enjoy the one-liners I give here, and invest some time in yourself, invest time into developing your data science skills that are really critical to your value to the marketplace. No matter whether you work as an employee or as a freelancer, you need to understand those things. So take your time and really study the material thoroughly. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye.